I just made this Facebook post, and I put my Facebook in the description, and you know what I'm saying. But all right. It says I was presently watching TV when they were showing the behind the scenes outtakes of Bill Cosby to show us how he reacted in the day. On the day. But no, back in the day. Okay, yeah. Back in the day with Raven Simone and I guess the other cast members, because I only caught the part with Raven where they had her sitting on his knee and he was moving like, you know, why y'all trying me like this? You know what I'm saying? He was moving like, man, what y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you testing me about this shit for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you thought a motherfucker had a chance to be that, to be something like that towards a child, why would that be the place where you make your decision? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna sit this baby on his knee to see if something's wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? But that's putting the baby in harm. You know what I'm saying? But so like if they thought he was a pedophile, that isn't the way to find out. You know what I'm saying? Plus, shame on America and Hollywood for even showing that. They're always trying to have someone's trial in the streets or in the court of public opinion. When police shoot innocent and unarmed people out in the street, what happened to a right to a fair trial? Looking back on it, I see it was some bullshit, but live, I was about to say live. I knew that didn't sound right. But live and in the moment, I wasn't focused on that point, on the point that it was wrong. You know, when they like let that be the test. You know what I'm saying? Why wait this long to show us that though? You know what I'm saying? It's like they've been holding that as a trump card, no pun intended, but you see what I see. Like they had been holding it into a specific point, like they had all this plan. They probably had been paying those girls to keep them on the hook, you know what I'm saying, to keep them on hold so that when it came time that Bill would want to make his power move, they could easily put their case together. And you know, these conversations about buying NBC probably had been going on around Hollywood since back in the day at many a party and dinner table with Bill Cosby while he was present and him being involved in the conversations. And I can almost bet that Bill was hearing the stories of them trying to stop him, but figured that when the time came, he'd lawyer up. I'm gonna let you know right now, this ain't all about like him buying NBC. It's just about lies and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like lies and shit. You feel me? Cause a motherfucker could do time in jail and get right back out of jail, and somebody accused him something, a lie, the first day they out. You know what I'm saying? And so when the court of public opinion start getting in on it, they look at it like, oh, he just did something. Now he got out and did it again, not even knowing the details of the shit. You know what I'm saying? So shit just deep. But yeah, I almost bet that Bill was hearing stories of them trying to stop him, but figured that when it came time, he'd lawyer up. But I don't think he considered the ratio and strength of money and resources that he had to theirs. He could have been speaking on this at his shows and coming up through the industry where we would have had more control, where he would have had more control of the situation and the perspective that people could see it from and how they could perceive it and counteract some of the shock from it. You know what I'm saying? He could have been speaking on this years in between instead of just saying, I'm going to wait to the end and get a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? He could have been speaking on this to like just like, I ain't gonna let the shit like all this time he could, and he could, cause maybe he think about the money too much. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking about the cash out of it, the NBC shit or whatever the fuck. Like I'm thinking about my motherfucking freedom. You know what I'm saying? I ain't stunned goddamn playing this little cat and mouse game with y'all about some NBC shit. The first little shit I heard about the shit, and if they say that them girls was scared of him because he had power, he had enough power to motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, speak to the masses and the public about the shit before somebody else gonna speak about some shit for you. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't saying, like, I wasn't there. But I'm just saying, like, okay. Although there is a point that Baba Richard Dick Gregory made when he said that Bill Cosby's son was killed on the side of the highway changing the flat tire on a Mercedes, that it was suggested that the tire should have fixed itself. You know, the kind that repair themselves until you can get to a better situation. No money was taken, nothing was taken, so it wasn't a robbery, and whoever did it didn't even seem to try to make it look like one. At the time that I saw the outtakes, I was engulfed in finding the points of vindication in my own situations to put his situation on my plate as well. Hold on, I didn't finish that sentence. Oh, yes, I did. I was engulfed in my own situations, you know, in finding the points of vindication in my own situations to put his situation on my plate as well. I was too involved. So involved, okay. So engulfed, all right. And so much to the point that even though I knew that it was some bullshit when I saw Raven Simone on his knee by the way he reacted, I didn't mention anything about it till years later. Two, because it wasn't, number two, because it wasn't on my mind frequently. Three, because I knew I was new to having a smartphone. I spelled that K-N-E-W. I was new to having a smartphone and didn't know in 2014 or the first quarter of 2015 was when I seen it, that it was one of those times. I don't know which one it was. That Facebook was the type of forum to share that type of stuff, being new to a smartphone. You know, I've been had a Facebook, but like when I got my smartphone, that's when I knew about like what kind of place it was. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as sharing stuff goes. And plus, I didn't have that many friends. I only had until I got my smartphone. That's when I just started adding people. But yeah, nevertheless, but I pray for Bill. I pray for Kels, because though it may have been him on the video back in the day, in Georgia, 16 was the legal age for consent back then. So why no one says it's wrong in Africa when grown men marry 15-year-olds? Because it falls within the parameters of their laws, as Kel's case could have here. If anything, there should have been I put the wrong there right there. There should have been a complaint with him giving her the money, but they knew that was like nothing, so they decided to try him again. No, they decided to try him again after. They decided to try him again. It was after the tape was out. So, in a court of public opinion. Then years later, they constructed another situation. They first tried to say that there was a cult that he was running. Then they tried to say, because I was living in Atlanta, so I was getting it on the local news. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have cable, so the news was like one of the most things that I watched back then. And then they tried to say that they were underage, which they weren't. Then they tried to say that the girls were being held against their will, when all of them seemed to have phones. I haven't watched the documentary at all, but even from the headlines, the details seem false. They all had phones to text about when they could eat, you know what I'm saying? But no one texted to call the police. They say they were being held against their will, but R.Kelly was doing shows, and he's the only one that got charged. And since they tried to take control of the situation, and since he tried to take control of the situation, yeah, he the only one that got charged. He doing shows, but they talking about they being held against their will. So where the other person who was holding them against their will at? You know what I'm saying? You just gotta look at shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and since he tried to take control of the situation and speak for himself, people clown him. His own community made light of the situation, and this man's life was on the line. And if you've never been there before, it's hard to speak on situations, even ones that you're right about, that people are looking at you like you're wrong when you don't control the interview. And even when you do, when people looking at you like you're wrong and you gotta convince them of your redemption, you know what I'm saying? And of your vindication. Especially about long past ass situations. Like, you know, I just been through shit. But you don't control the interview, but you're desperate to redeem yourself. The pressure can build to an enormous extent. A lot of people couldn't even see through the mist, and some people were just inconsiderate. You know what I'm saying? Now all of these smart people making these these ultimately clever memes, statuses, and captions, and no one saw through these situations like I did. You know what I'm saying? That's my own just take that for that. I know some other people were seeing it, they just weren't speaking on it. And it is some hard shit to speak on because nobody likes that shit. You know what I'm saying? Something wrong with you if you like that shit. You know what I'm saying? And you need help. You need to work on yourself. You need what I'm saying? And so I'm the only one that listened to Dick Gregory. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, if the situation was if the situation The thing is, if the situation has a certain filth to the subject of it, we won't even examine it to help our people. But we mentioned slavery and how we were so against that, like there wasn't rape and molestation involved in that. Now, I ain't speaking on, I'm just gonna say this even though it's clear. I ain't speaking on slavery as speaking on slavery as something like speaking down on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we speak on that, but then when shit like that happen today, we like, oh I don't want no part of that, or make a joke about it. You know what I'm saying? Make memes about it and laugh at the motherfucker that's being criticized. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't speak that well like that, and be able to get all my details in there because I had brain injury, trauma like that. So you know what I'm saying? Just bear with me. But that's why I would rather have read this, because I write better than I talk. You know what I'm saying? At times. I speak well sometimes at times, but this is one of the things that I wanted to be more meticulous about. You know what I'm saying? It kind of shows the type of person that you would have been in the heat of all that, plus the civil rights movement. Imagine the wars that we fought and still fight today for justice and liberation, and you being one of the ones in it for the jokes.